Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to work on the Floral Granny Crochet Afghan. There are two different types of motifs that are used within this. A really good pop-up flower, and then we have a blooming flower, and we're going to be doing each one of these on camera. I'm then going to get this do four of them because I'm going to show you that you can do the border quite easily with this particular pattern as well, and it's going to be quite fun and fabulous. So let's move over to the last page because that's the fun page, at least for me. So on the final page of this pattern, you're going to notice that there's two types of diagrams here. We have the motif number 1, and then we have the motif number 2 here. So this is the pop-up flower that you see here, and then you transition to go to the square here, and then this is the other one where it's worked right into a square. This here is a continuation of going into this, so don't think that it's something separate because it's not. So what I want to do today is that I want to show you how to operate these, and then you're going to see the border is right here, and you're going to see it's just regular double crochets going all the way around, and then there is a total of how many rounds? So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do this kind of fancy footwork at the end, the Picot edging. So without further ado, we're going to just grab our yarn, and we're going to use a 4.5 millimeter, and that's a size US 7 crochet hook in order to play today. So here is the blooming flower, and you can see that the flower is right here and it's part of the square. So let's turn it over, and you can see that it's worked right into the square itself. You can see it's got a hollow spot because it's sitting up on top of the square. So when you just peel it back here, you can see that it's really quite worked in. So the secret with these ones is that the starting color here is the same color as the outside here, but we're gonna have to change midway through. So when you're deciding your colors, just make sure that it really works out lovely if the center and the outside match each other, and then there's an accent color that is in between. So let's go back to the diagram. Let's show you how to read that, and then we're gonna continue from that point. So here's the diagram, and we're going to start off in the center, and we're gonna read this counterclockwise just like you see in a circle here, and we're gonna create a chain 8 ring, and then we're going to then crochet, single crochet all the way around. And so you really want to watch your color changing when you're going to do this particular concept, and you're going to notice that color changing is in the written pattern, but we're also going to get you to change as well throughout the pattern. So you're going to notice that there's one leaf here, and then another set, one petal here, and then another petal, but they sit on top of chain work that you have to establish in order to get it. So once you have this done, the hardest part of this particular square is just making sure that you get this next round, round number 7, to be balanced with each other, because essentially you have how many sides? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you have 6 petals that need to turn into a 4 square, and so you just really need to watch your counts as you're going around round number 7. It's not hard. It's just a matter of being able to follow, and we're gonna do it nice and slowly on camera. So once you get that established, the rest of the rounds, so 8, 9, and 10 are essentially the same building up, and you're just worrying about what's in the corners in order to get it to go. So we're gonna head back down to the front. So if you need this diagram, see the video link and the more information, and you will have access to this pattern as well. So without further ado, let's grab our first color and let's continue. And just one more final thing is that in the pattern, in the instructions, motif 1 and 2 that are labeled, that in the diagram you can follow these set of instructions here if you would like to. It's on page number 2, and then the other motif that we're going to do later on in today's tutorial will be the other one that you can see here that you can follow as well. So let's now continue. So let's create a slip knot to begin, and let's get going. So what we have here, this is an intermediate level, so if you're a beginner in crochet you might struggle with this a little bit, but just take your time and let's try to work on it together. So we're got our slip knot on, we're gonna chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So once you have that done, you are just going to insert the hook into the beginning chain and just yarning over and pulling through and through, and there you have the center ring of your square. So we're now going to begin. We're going to chain up 1, and in the center of the square we're going to put 18 single crochets. So let's count those out. So we have 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, this is 5, 6, this is 7, 8, and this is 9. So you're going to run out of space soon. So what you can do, because you're just going around the ring, just pull it and just shift it. So we had 9 done, and so you just made more space. So 9, so 10, 11, 12, 13, and this is 14, and I'm running out of space again, so just shift it. So it was 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So you have to slip stitch to the first one, but if you're unsure, just count backward from there. So just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So as an experienced crocheter, I was able to tell that, but if you cannot, just count back to the 18th one and slip stitch, and that is the center, just like you see. So let's move on then to round number 2. So let's continue to round number 2. We're gonna chain up 1 and we're gonna single crochet in the same one that you did the join with, and then you are going to then, so let's get it in there first, so single crochet, and then you're going to chain a total of 3. So 1, 2, and 3. You are going to skip the next 2 stitches and go to the 3rd, and you're going to single crochet, and you're gonna do that all the way around. So chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, skip 2 stitches and go to the 3rd. Please do that same concept going all the way around. So I'm coming up to the very end, so I'm just gonna chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to slip stitch it to the beginning one. So if you skip over 2, that's the final 2, and then you're slip stitching to the beginning, and that is where the story ends with this color of yarn. So at this point you should be able to pull it apart, and you should see 6 of these gaps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I want you to fasten off this yarn, and it's easier if you deal with your yarn tails at a time now, like one individually instead of waiting to the end. So once you do this, here's how I'm gonna have you do it, is just throw it into a darning needle. It takes 2 seconds, turn it to the back, and just weave it through. Don't go through the, just go through the chain work that you just created, because you're gonna cover over top of that chain. Okay, so do you see that? It went into the chain. So just go 1, and when you pull it through, I don't want you to warp the project. So 1 and 2, and still staying in the chain is 3. Therefore you can just trim it right down and get rid of it, and therefore you have no tails. And if you have the starting one hanging out, and just weave that in if you haven't done so already, and then get rid of that, and therefore you can have a tail free project and still be able to maintain. So let's continue on then to round number 3. So continuing on, we want to create the next color, and this will be the accent color, and you're going to put it onto your hook first, and you can go to any one of these chain 3 spaces. So I'm just gonna start here just for the fun of it, and I'm going to slip stitch it so that it's just attached, and now I want to begin to chain 1. Sorry, what I want to do is that I want to single crochet into there. So I've just slip stitched it, and now I'm single crocheting it, so I'm not chained 1 first. Makes a difference. And now I want to do a total of a chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, so I'm building out the leaf or the petal, and then I want to then come back into the same space, and I want to double crochet 5 times. So let's just count those out together. So 1, keep that straggler down on top of the line, and therefore you can bury it in. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once you have your 5, you have to come back down to the very beginning down here. So you're gonna chain 3 first. So 1, 2, 3, and just move things out of the way if it's in the way, and just go back into that same space and single crochet. So I'm now buried in that straggler enough. I'm gonna let it fall out, and I can trim that later. So you're gonna go to the next space. So here's how it's done again. So single crochet first, chain up 3 to build up, and do 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now I'm gonna chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and single crochet back down into that same space. And then I'm gonna jump and do that again. So I wanna do that a total of 6 petals. So just move right over, single crochet, chain up 3, 5 double crochet, chain 3, and single crochet back into that gap, and then move along. So I'm just doing my last one. I'm single crocheting into the last gapping space, and before I'm done I want to slip stitch to the beginning single crochet that I had started with, and then that ties it all together. And then I'm going to take this yarn and now fasten off, and then use my darning needle to hide in my loose ends, and then move on and bring this other color back into play. So let's move along to round number 4. It's gonna be the same color as the beginning, and we're gonna bring that back, create a slip knot to start, insert in. So what you need to do is you need to separate where the 2 single crochets are. There's no chain space there at all, so you just gotta jam your hook in between them. Okay, so don't go into a stitch, just go right in between, and then just attach it with a slip stitch like this, and I want you to single crochet into that same space. So just kind of get this straggler. You're gonna have to use a darning needle to be able to hide that one in later, or you can just wait, and then you're going to single crochet over top of the next line that comes around anyway, so it's up to you. So the next thing you need to do is that we need to chain a total of 5. So last time it was chaining a 3, this time it's 5 because it's bigger. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I want you to skip this next petal completely and just separate the next 2 single crochets and just flip the petal in front. You can change it later anyway, but just flip it in front and then just go in the single crochet. So that chain is kind of resting in behind. So single crochet right in between. See that? That's what makes this lift, is that this chain work is kind of in behind the petal. So chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just move that petal forward if you want to, and just single crochet in between the 2 single crochets, and continue that all the way around. So I'll see you at the end of this round. So coming all the way back around, I've got my chain 5, and I'm just going to slip stitch to the first single crochet that I started with. And that ends that. So you see that it's kind of riding in behind the work. So let's move along and let's do the next round. So let's move along to the next round, round number 5. So remember that straggler I was talking about? So just keep it there and just put it on top of the line, and it will be buried in, so you don't have to worry about that. So you're gonna slip stitch to the first chain 5 space. So just slip it, and that moves you over. And now you're gonna chain 1, and I want you to single crochet into that same space. So this time, instead of doing 5 double crochets, you're gonna do 7. So you're gonna chain up 3 first, and then do 7 double crochets because the flower is bigger. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now you're going to chain 3 to come back down. So 1, 2, 3, and single crochet finally into that space again. And then you're gonna move on to the next space. So that's a straggler I just went over top. I can just push it aside. So you're gonna go to the next chain 5 space, single crochet to begin, and then you're going to then chain up 3, and then you're gonna put 7 double crochets in, chain down 3, and then single crochet back into that same space, and then move over to the next one. So please continue that all the way around, and you'll see that these are gonna start layering over top of each other. So please do that, and I'll see you at the end of this round. So I'm just finishing up the final petal, chain down 3 and single crochet into the final space, but make sure that you slip stitch it to the first single crochet to have it join, because it'll look off if it's not. So you're gonna do that, and then I want you to fasten off and weave in your ends, and this is what it looks like at this moment. So we're gonna get rid of this color, and now we're going to do the background color, which is the remaining of the square. So please fasten this off and join me next, and I'm gonna bring back the diagram to show you what to do. So at this point in the tutorial, what we have is that we are going to start this big chain work here, and this is going to be using the same color as the remaining of your block. So we're gonna do that, and then the hardest part is round number 7. See how that there's 7 here, but it over crosses one single crochet here. So you have 1 2 3 4, and then it goes on the single crochet, and then 1 2 3 4. So the hardest part of this is that when you hit it over here is that you will see that you'll have one on the one side of the single crochet. All of this here will be all filled in. See how there's no single crochet that blocked that, and then you're gonna go right after that and then continue. So we're gonna take our time doing that because that's the hardest part of this whole thing, but once you understand that, so I think let's start off with our chain work as number 6, and then we're gonna take number 7 nice and slow. So let's begin using the background color. In my case it's more of a green, and we're going to start with a slip knot, and we're gonna do how we did it before when we were in between the petals. So we're gonna take this one here, the last petal, separate the 2 single crochets, and that's where you're going to join. Okay, so you join it with the slip stitch like that, and I want you to single crochet into that same spot. Now you can leave the straggler because you can bury it next time you go over top of the chain that you're about to create. So in this case what we want to do is that we want to chain 7. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then just come into the next space in between the next one. So just kind of have it rest behind this petal like you did before, and single crochet in between the 2 single crochets that exist. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 6 and 7, and then just come into the next one. Just kind of push it forward. You can always fix it after the fact, but you can only fix it once, so make sure that you try to put it in front. So please continue that same idea going all the way around. Do not fasten off at the end. When you're done this, you're gonna just come back and you're going to slip stitch it to the first single crochet that you had done. You're going to notice that the flower wants to buckle, and that's because it's being built on the outside just like you see here. So don't worry about that. We want to continue to the hardest round, which is round number 6, and let's take our time and use this straggler here to be able to just kind of pinch it together with the chain work, and therefore you won't have to sew that in later. So let's move really slowly now, and you'll want to pay attention to this part of the tutorial the most. Let's begin round number 7. So I'm watching it on off camera here as well. So I want to slip stitch to the first chain 7 space, and I want to go and catch that straggler into position as well. So slip stitch it there, and now you're ready to go. I want you to chain 5. This counts as a double crochet and plus chain 2. So let's count 5. So 1 2 3, there's your double crochet. 4 and 5 is your chain 2 corner space. In the same space I want you to put 4 more double crochets in it. So just don't put it right beside it, just move it over a little bit. You can always shift it later as well and put in 4 double crochets. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now that you have that, you're going to come into the next single crochet and you're going to double crochet into that one. So that's kind of like crossing over. So double crochet into that single crochet, and now move to the next chain 7 space, and I'm still burying in this end but I can actually let it go now, is that I want to put 4 more double crochets into this new chain 7 space. So 1 2 3 and 4. You're now going to create the next corner. So this is the corner over here. We're gonna create the next corner. So we're gonna chain 2, and in this exact same space you're going to put another double crochet in. Now that I'm doing this the second time, it's not as hard as it was the first time I went through it. So now we're going to jump over to the next chain 7 space, and all of this here is gonna get a total of 7 double crochets in it. So let's just count those out. So just jump over and just do 7. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. So you can see how it kind of all favors. This will all balance out at the end. So now you're just gonna go to the next chain 7 space and you're gonna put in 1 double crochet. And now we're gonna create the next corner. So the next corner is chain 2 and you're gonna come back into the same space a total of 4 more times. So right, see where this one is attached? That's the same space and you're gonna double crochet 4 times. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and you're gonna come into this next single crochet, okay, and you're gonna double crochet into that one, and in the next chain 7 space you're gonna put 4 more double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And now you're going to chain 2. This is another corner, and in the same space you want to put another double crochet in there. So you can see it's kind of buckling up. It will work out. You just got to be patient. And now you're going to skip to the next chain 7 space and you're going to put in 7 double crochets. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And technically you would have had to skip over and double crochet into the next chain 7 space, but it's already there. So you just want to slip stitch to the 3rd chain. So 1, 2, 3, slip stitch to the 3rd chain, and that is your round. So it looks like it's all buckled up and everything, but it's actually working just slightly in behind the other petals, and when you kind of flip it back you can see that it's working out really quite lovely. So the next 3 rounds are very easy rounds. The hard work is now done, and let's move on to rounds number 8, 9 and 10. To begin all rounds, all you just need to do, all the remaining, is that you're going to slip stitch the chain 2 space and you're going to chain up 5, so it counts as a double crochet, chain 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And in the same space I want you to put in 2 more double crochets. So this is your corners. So the corners are made up of actually 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. So you're gonna finish the, when you come back around you'll put a double crochet back into this chain space in order to complete this particular corner. So now you're just going to put in 1 double crochet in each one of the double crochets. You're going to notice that this will start balancing out the pattern and the strands will be able to move around on the chain 7s that you had in order to get it to sit properly. So you're just double crocheting yourself all the way until you get to the next chain 2 space. So obviously there's gonna be 4 of those because it's a 4-sided square. Now the next chain 2 spaces here. So you're going to double crochet first, do that 2 times, chain 2 and then double crochet 2 times. And then keep moving along. So don't forget to start right off in the first one and just double crochet in each one. Then in the corners do your 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and meet me at the end of this round. Okay, and you'll notice that it's gonna start sitting down nicely. So I'm coming up all the way around and I wanna make sure I'm getting every stitch just like you see. And now I have my chain 2 space that I started with. I'm going to double crochet there and then I'm going to attach it to the 3rd chain up. And then that completes that round. So you see that it's not quite sitting down yet, but it will sit down after the next round, and then round number 9 and 10 are exactly identical. So you're just gonna shift over by slip stitching, chain up 5. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that's your double crochet, chain 2, and you're gonna double crochet 2 more times into that same space. And then you're just gonna double crochet yourself all the way to the next corner, and then in the next corner here it's gonna be 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and you're gonna work your way all the way around. So please do that and then see me at the end of this round once again, and we're gonna do 1 more round and then that finishes off this square for this particular blanket. So I'm coming all the way back around once again, and I'm going to, don't forget to go into that last chain 2 space and then just attach to the third one up. So this is gonna be the second last round. We're gonna move on to the final round now, and we're just gonna slip stitch to the chain 2 space. You're gonna chain 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then double crochet twice, just like you already know. And then just keep on going across, and then in the next corner 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and go all the way around, and then that will complete this one here. And really at this point it should be sitting down on you as well, so you can see no added pressure in order to get it to sit. So let's continue on, and then I'll see you at the end of this round, and then we're gonna move on to doing the next square after this. So I'm coming all the way back around. This is the final time, and I get to start more. So there's gonna be a total number of these types of squares. So go into the final chain 2 space that you started with, and then slip stitch it to the third one up, and then just weave in your ends and get rid of it. So you need a total of, what's it say, 20 motifs that look like this particular color combination. It could be any color combination that you decide, and then they're suggesting then another 12 of these types of motifs done in a color 2 option, so the petals are actually a different color. So once you get everything, just kind of just stretch things into position, and you'll see that everything will work out, and it's really quite lovely. So just weave in your ends at this point and get rid of those, and I'm going to move on to the next square that is in the design, and you can get this done. Just reverse this video if you want to do any more of these, if you don't already understand the pattern as is. So weave in your ends, and then you're good to go, and then let's move on to the second motif that is in this afghan. So let's move along and do the second type of motif. It's all using the one color. This is almost done in a one-step process, which is really quite amazing. Here's what the other side looks like. You can see that it's really quite open on the back side, really quite lovely, and it complements the other. Kind of reminds Jeannie and I of a bit of a sugar cookie, if you know those that are in the tin cans. And the way that it's done, it looks like that they're just beautifully just tucked into each other, and I've never done anything like this, and I was so excited. So let's go back to the diagram, and let's get you started for the motif of this style. So this particular part of the tutorial, you're going to use this, and then this is the center of this. So see these red lines here? That is the same red lines that you see over here. So let me take you to this one close up, and let's explain what's gonna happen. So here's a close-up view. So what we're going to do is that we are going to do our chain work, and then we're going to begin, and what I want you to pay attention to is that these here are all working up as like one layer all within the same. So you're just gonna I'm just gonna highlight it. You're going to double crochet a bit, and then you're going to chain your work, and then chain up 3, and you're going to put another one in the beginning, a double crochet, and then you're going to double crochet the remaining, and then chain 3, and then start once again with the next petal. So all of this here is working as one particular petal that is pulled back into position to create that beautiful shape by that chain 3 that happens. And then in the chain 3 in the future is that we're gonna use that as the stabilizer to create the square. So without further ado, let's get started on this one. So let's get started. We're going to chain a total of 8. So here's your slip stitch, slip knot, and you're going to begin. So chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then I want you then to go in to the first chain and yarning over, pulling through and through, and that creates the center ring of your motif. Let's begin, and we're going to start up nice and slowly, and then you'll get the concept really quite lovely. So there's a total of 8 petals, and this is how you're going to start up. So you're going to chain up 3 to begin. That is counts as a double crochet, and I want you to double crochet 3 more times into the center of this ring. So let's count those out together. So 1, 2, and 3. So that with the chaining at 3 and those 3 double crochets, it's a total count of 4. That's important for you to know. I want you to turn your project now, and I want you to chain up 3. So 1, 2, 3, and in the same one that it comes out of, I want you to double crochet again. So there's 2 into the first one, and then you're going to double crochet into the remaining 3. So 1, 2, and the third one is in the turning chain. So go right into the turning chain. Don't go into a space, just go right into the turning chain, and then you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and turn the project back to the good side. And I want you then, it's gonna pull around, and I want you to come back into the ring, and I want you to double crochet 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once you have your 4, you're going to turn it around and you're going to chain a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3 counts as a double crochet, and double crochet back into that same one, and then double crochet in the remaining ones that you have. So there's a total of 3 that you can see. So 1, 2, and 3. And then once that's done, I want you to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, turn the project to the good side again, and just double crochet 4 times into the center ring once again. And this causes that bend to happen, and as you get more and more of those into position, you're going to notice that it's going to fill out really quite lovely, just like the pattern. So you're double crocheting 4 times, and you're going to notice that you're going to run out of space of the center ring. So when you start pushing things together, they start interfolding with each other as well. So 4 double crochets, turn, chain up 3, double crochet in the same one, and double crochet into the last 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then coming back and bring it back to the forward, and then just do another 4 double crochets. So I need you to get a total of 8 of these petals into position, and just keep pushing them around the center of the ring so that they all will fit, and they will all fit. They just got to make room for them. Just push them around and then they start interfolding with each other. So 4 double crochets, chain 3, double crochet in the same one, and then double crochet in the remaining 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then come back to the front, and then double crochet again 4 more times. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and just continue along so that you get 8 of those petals. So I'll see you at the end of the 8. Okay, after you confirm that you have your 8 petals, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, I want you to slip stitch it to the first top of the chain 3. That's important because you need to keep the balance going all the way around. This is it for this particular color, so you're going to fasten off just like I showed you before, but if this is the secondary video, so you're just gonna trim your yarn and just pull through, just like you see here. And then you're just gonna take this yarn here and just throw it through a darning needle. This one's a kind of a great square. It's not just a typical square, so I would spend the time and just kind of weave in your ends right in the back end of there. You want to just go right into a chain itself, the chain of 3, because you want those flowers to lift off. So if you kind of sew that down into position, you're not going to get the lifting effect. So just going across once, twice, and it only takes a few moments to be able to do this, and go 3 times, and then get rid of that right to the wick, and you're done. So we now have this. You're gonna notice that it doesn't look balanced, or does it look like it's the original. It's the next one when you start playing with these chain 3s that you're going to see all these flowers equal out, and then they start lifting off. It's amazing. So let's begin with your background color of your entire square next. So let's begin the background color. We're going to work with those chain 3s that are in behind, so just start with a slip knot, and we're gonna start with the corner first. So just go in any of these chain 3 spaces that you have. It's the things that are pulling it in order to give it the look. So it's a chain 3, and I want you to just slip stitch it to any one of them, it doesn't matter, and you're going to chain a total of 5, which counts as a double crochet. Sorry, it counts as a double crochet chain 2. So 1, 2, 3, there's your double crochet, 4 and 5 is your chain 2, and I want you to come back into that same chain 3 space, and I want you to put in 3 more double crochets. So 1, 2 and 3. So that is your first corner. So I went right up over top with the straggler so I can get rid of that later. So now the next chain 3 space is in the next petal, so just reaching to it, I want you to put 3 more double crochets into that. So 1, 2 and 3, and do you see how it's lifting off these flowers? It's not like these that are still sitting flat. So you have 3 in there, and so now I want you to come to the next chain 3 and create another corner. So the corners here for this particular round is 3 double crochet, and then you're going to chain 2 and then 3 double crochet into the same one, and that gets you to turn the corner. Once you're done, go to the next chain 3. This is the middle of your square, so you're just gonna put in 3 double crochets and then move on. Okay, so the next one is a corner, so it's gonna be 3 double crochet, chain 2 and 3 double crochet. So continue that same idea going all the way around, and I'll show you how to finish off. This round do not fasten off the color though. So as we come all the way around, remember that we started off with the chain 5, which counts as a double crochet, chain 2. So when you come into the final one again, you're only gonna put in 2 double crochet and then join it to the 3rd chain up to complete that round. And you can see that this completely lifted off. Completely. That's what's so amazing about it. So when you're first doing it, you're thinking, oh, it doesn't look like the photo, but once you get doing it, you can see there's a beautiful lift. So now the next rounds are all identical to each other, so you have a total of 3 more rounds to do, and so this is how you're gonna get it done. So you're just gonna go to the next chain 2 space. There's a difference in the corners now going forward, so you're gonna move over, so you're just gonna slip stitch. You're gonna chain a total of 7. So 1, 2, 3, there's your double crochet, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, that's your actual chain space for a corner. You're gonna come back into the center of this one, into the chain space, and you're only gonna put 2 double crochets this time. Last time you were doing 3, your corners are only 2 double crochet, chain 4, 2 double crochet. So you're just gonna double crochet yourself all the way to the next corner. So use the stitches you already can see. So this will bring balance as well. And then when you hit the next corner, did you remember what I just said? So the next corner, well, all the corners will all be the same going forward now. It's gonna be 2 double crochet, then chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then coming into the same space, 2 more double crochets, and then continue along the side edge to the next corner. So please do that all the way around. I'll see you at that final corner just to review once again. So this is a 1 of 3 rounds that you have to do in order to get it to the size the other square in this pattern is. So going into the final stitch here, and then you're going to go into this chain 2 space, and you're gonna just double crochet first, and then you're going to attach it to the 3rd chain up to maintain that chain 4 space in the corner. So you have 2 more rounds to do. They're exactly identical to what you just learned. So I'm gonna leave this with you. So you're just gonna slip stitch, you're gonna chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, there's your double crochet, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's your chain 4 space, and you're gonna double crochet 2 times into that same space. So 1 and 2, and then just move along, double crochet into each. The next corner space is a 2 double crochet, chain 4, 2 double crochet. So then when you get all the way back around, you are just going to then come into the last stitch, then go into the chain 4 space, double crochet, and then attach to the 3rd chain up. So I want you to do this round plus 1 more, and then that's it for this particular square. So please do that, and I'll see you at the end of this square. So I'm now coming all the way to the final ending, and I just want to make sure I get all my double crochets in there, and then go to the final chain 4 space, double crochet in first, and then slip stitch it to the third one up, and then that's it. So this whole square is then done. So you can see that it sits down beautifully when you're going to do it. So you're going to need a total of 15 motif squares that have one color, and then 16 motif squares that have another, if you would like to do exactly as the pattern. But again, that's just a suggestion. So when you really look at it, see how much that is lifting off. Isn't that awesome? So you get to have fun with that, and then when we come back, just weave in your ends completely from the square, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you how to start assembling this, assuming that you're ready for that. So you can come back at a later time to be able to follow that process, and I'm gonna show you some sewing techniques and then show you how to do the border on this particular Afghan. So now it's time to put our squares together. So if you're ready to put it together, let me give you some tips. So what you're going to notice is that there's different colors. I strongly recommend that whatever color that you use to sew them, it matches either one side or the other. So it's either going to be green or white in this particular instance, because what happens is if you try to use another color that doesn't match either side, it'll stand out on you. So you want to just make sure that you're kind of going around. So the easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is that when, for example, if you want to do this white one, just go white and attach this one, and this one at the same time, and then you can move on to the other one. So if you want to do green, you're going to attach here, green, and then add that one in. So you can be very strategic about doing it. So in my case here is that I kept all the colors the same for the background, and I'm going to use the same color in order to do the background, in order to put everything together. So you're going to notice that you have your squares ready, and then we're going to begin, and I'm going to show you the invisible join because I think it's the best one for this particular concept. Now if you did it like me and you kept the backgrounds all the same color, so what you want to do is want to start on one side and just begin to whip stitch an invisible join all the way, and then as soon as you get here you continue to go and then keep adding more. So it's just a really quite an easy concept. So you're going to need a darning needle and also the same color yarn, and just get it long enough that you think that it can go all the way across. Remember, it is a whip stitch, so it does take extra yarn, so you can't just put this amount here and say that you got enough. You got to have extra because it's going to go around in circle. So on the one side of the strand you're going to apply a slip knot just like you see here, and then the other side you're going to put in your darning needle. And I'm going to zoom in and show you exactly where to put your hook for the invisible join. To do the invisible join you're gonna have squares, so you'll notice that these ones here have more of an open than the actual other ones here, and they've been sized strategically so they do match together. So what you want to do is that you want to start off and you want to use the back loops of your join. So instead of going through the whole stitch, you want to go towards the one that's on the back, so this one here. So on the other one you don't want to use the top one, you want to use the back one in order to join to create it. So this creates a nice flat area. So coming into just the one side of the stitch on this corner, and you're going to match it to the other side on the other corner. So remember that there was chaining of 2, and you want to just go in the back stitch only. Okay, so when you're looking down they should be the stitches that are the furthest away, so the ones that are on top are the front, and you're gonna go straight across, and you're going to stop just shy of that slip knot that you did, and you're going to insert in, and that'll lock that permanently into position. Now using your straggler, put it down on the center, and you're going to advance another stitch. So in this one here, because there is 4 chains, you're going to go into the next chain just in the back, and the next one here you were going to go into an actual stitch. So again, the back loops only. So just laying down the straggler on top, you can trap it into position as it's going all the way through. And sometimes it does fall off the darning needle. And you're just gonna pull, and when you pull it's gonna trap that straggler into position as you go. So now on the front one you're going to go into the next back loop, and the other one you're gonna go into the next back loop. And again keeping that straggler down. So you want to keep that straggler into position for about just maybe about an inch, 2 inches at max, and then just keep moving down and just making sure you're advancing the number of stitches to go. So you want to keep an eye just in case that you're advancing too quickly on the one side or the other, so just occasionally look at the other side and making sure that they're going to line up properly. Once you have the straggler buried in long enough, all you're just gonna do is just pull it nice and snug, and then you can trim that and therefore the starting of your strand is completely buried and gone. So you're then gonna just continue to work your way down and just look at the edge and make sure that the edge is gonna line up on the other side. So I'm going to work my way all the way across, and then when I get to the middle here I'm going to show you what I do in order to get it crisscrossing in order to join it completely. So I'll see you there in just a moment. So just keep whip stitching until you get to that area there. So here's another fun tip. If you think one is advancing too much, so for example you think that you need to pull this back because it's not gonna line up, and that does happen sometimes, what you can just do is that you can advance one stitch on the one side but then backtrack to one stitch that's already been covered, and it's pretty much impossible to see. The trick is that if you're gonna do it, kind of make it evenly spaced so that you don't end up with a space that's buckled, and then once you're satisfied then just keep advancing, and it's a way of pulling back part of the square without having to frog anything in order to get that to happen. So now that I'm in the right amount of stitches that I need, they're both equaling up, and I'm using this the corners as my spacers. So now what I want to do is that I want to work diagonally to the next one. So I want to then jump diagonally to the next one over, and I want to come back to where I am on the original, and that will pull it diagonally towards each other. Okay, now I want to jump across to the same one that the other one is already joined with here, and I want to go across and grab the other one right in the corner. Okay, and now what I want to do is that I want to jump across to the neighbor that where this other one is, and then I continue along to whip stitch along this angle. So that's a great way to do it, and then when you're ready then you just go back through the other side and you come back and just jump over again, do your diagonals, and then keep on going, and then all this will be joined together. So I'm going to get to the end of this, and then I'm going to show you how to just fasten this off and hide in your loose end at the end when you get all the way across, and then I'll see you there in just a moment. So once you get all the way across, so I've just followed through, and then I'm going to then just tie a quick little knot right at the very edge like so, and then what I want to do is that I want to travel it underneath the stitches. So just going into the middle section and staying towards the middle, okay, and then just go through once. Do not warp your edge, so just making sure that it's got some flexibility to it, and then coming back in the other direction for twice, and then the third direction a third time is a charm, and it's buried really in there right in the join, and then you could just trim it down. So what I want you to do is I want you to put all your project together, and you can see it's nice and beautifully joined together, and now I'm going to work along the other side and do the other one off camera, and I'll see you when I get that done, and we'll start our border after that. So now that my project has now been put together, I want to create the border, and there's 4 rounds to do it. You will notice that in this Afghan that each one of the colors are completely different, and they're using the accent colors a little bit here, and you can find the color coordination. So what I would do is I'd recommend changing out your colors in order to get it effective. Again, you are the artist, you can decide what's right for you. We're gonna start off right in the corner, and we're gonna work our way around, and when we get to the joins, you just work right over top into the spaces itself, and you can see that there's 2 half double crochets into there and 2 half double crochets on the other side in order to keep everything consistent. So the border here that you see is working up of half double crochets to be nice and slim, and then we're gonna do this fancy picot edging that I really love as well. So let's begin to start you off in the right direction. So let's begin. We're going to start off with our first one, and the half double or the chaining of 2 never counts as a half double crochet. Coming right into the corner, I want you just to attach and chain 2, and it doesn't count as anything. It's just a builder, and you're going to half double crochet twice, and you're going to move all the way around in this particular one with 1 half double crochet in each of the stitches, and when you get to the join just make sure you put 2 half double crochets on the one side, and in the other one put 2 half double crochets, and just keep on moving around. So in the corner spaces what you're going to have is that you're going to have 2 half double crochets, chaining 4, and then 2 half double crochets again, and you keep moving around in that same manner. So I'll see you at the end of this round. It's just 1 half double crochet in each of the double crochets, and then handle your corners from what I just said. So it's half double crochet, So just half double crochet around, handle your corners, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. So when you come all the way back around, you're just going to put in your 2 half double crochets in the final corner, and you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and go right to the first half double crochet. This chaining of 2 doesn't count as anything, so just attach there. So remember what I just said, we're going to just use different colors, so if you want to change out your color, now's the time to do it. And you're going to trim and just have some fun with your colors. That's what makes this Afghan really quite nice. And you're going to just weave in your ends. You can use a darning needle if you wish, and then if you just weave it in and out, you can capture it into position as well. So to begin the next round, what you can just do is that I'm gonna use green again, and green kind of gives it a nice balance because it's part of the background. And you're going to chain or do a slip knot on your hook and chain up 2, doesn't count as anything, and again 2 half double crochets into the same chain 4 space. And this round plus the next one is exactly identical, so I want you to do this round plus the next round, and then we're gonna begin the final together. So please do that, and then meet me back here, and then we'll do your final border of the picot edging going all the way around. So it's just still half double crochets going all the way across, and in the corners it's still the same thing of 2 half double crochets, chaining at 4 and 2 half double crochets to make up your corners. So please do that and see me back here in just a moment. So let's cover the final border, and we're going to join up, and it's gonna be over 2 stitches that are going to create this final stitch that you see. So you're gonna single crochet, and then you're gonna chain 3, and then single crochet in the second chain from the hook in the next one, and then single crochet back into this one here. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this because I think this is fun, but I think I got a quicker way for you to do it as well. So you can go either way, and I'm gonna show you this version first because it's on the pattern, and then I'll show you the other version because they're both over 2 stitches as well. So the first version, we're going to create a slip knot, and we're going to start right above the chaining of 2, okay, that you have right in the corner. You're going to join in, and then you're just gonna attach it with the slip stitch, and then I want you to chain 1 and single crochet into that same one. So to do the one that it's suggesting in this pattern, you're going to chain 3, so 1, 2 and 3, and you're gonna single crochet second chain from the hook and then the next one back. So it's a bit cumbersome, it's a bit slow, but you know, again, everything has its own way of looking, so you can't like always get the easy way out of things. And then you're just going to just skip the next stitch and then single crochet into the next one. Okay, so let's repeat on how to do that again. So you're gonna chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then second chain from the hook, you're going to single crochet into that one and its buddy right next door, right below. You're going to skip the next one down here, and then you're going to single crochet the next. So this is how it would look. So let me show you another way of doing something like this. So let's just say we just single crochet, which we did, and if you chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then picot into that single crochet, so just slide your hook in behind the 2 front strands that you see and pull through and through, and then you can single crochet into the next one. See the difference? Not much, is there? So you're going to single crochet in the next one, and then you're gonna chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then picot, so you're just gonna slide into the 2 strands, pull through and through, and then single crochet into the next one. Okay, so single crochet in the next one, 1, 2, 3, and then you can slide it through and through, and then single crochet in the next one. And let me just quickly review on the first one. See, there's not much of a difference, is there? So you can choose either one that you think is best for you. So single crochet in the next one, chain 3, single crochet second chain from the hook, and the next one below it, and then what you want to skip 1 and single crochet in the next one, and then chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, second chain from the hook, and then skip one and single crochet the next. So you can decide what you think is best for you. Now you're going to notice that the ones that are in the original, see how you're skipping one? The one I suggested, you're not skipping any. Okay, so there is a fundamental difference between the look. Again, that is something that you can make up for yourself. So you're gonna go all the way around this, and then in the corners what you're going to do is that you were going to apply 2 of these right into the corner space. So it'd be single crochet, chain 3, and then come back into the other 2 for single crochet, and then start it and do it another time. So you're gonna do it twice. You're gonna do that all the way around on your particular project, and then you're gonna come back, and then you're going to finish in this corner. Again, all corners have 2 of these inside. Just place it, and then you're just gonna join it with a slip stitch to the top, and then that will finish off your Afghan. So this is a really neat concept. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy it at the same time. So until next time, have a great day. It's Mikey on behalf of Yarn Inspirations as well as the crochetcrowd.com.